This is a Film Stories original podcast.
Hey guys, time to get in on the action for the biggest moments in basketball with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projections, place your entry, and win up to 100 times your money. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit of up to $100. Just download the Prize Picks app and use the code GET100. That's code GET100 on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more. Pick less. It's that easy.
We made this.
Welcome everyone to the X-Cast. The truth is in here. This is our special Fight the Future Minute podcast. I'm Russ Hugo, and you are listening to our coverage of Minute 50 of the X-Files, Fight the Future. This minute begins at 49, and this is before we see somebody get totally eviscerated and ends at around 49:59. I'm joined this minute again by fellow X-Castee Deana Ferreri. I couldn't come up with a better catchphrase, but I'm going to work on it by we get to minute 52. I'm going to have something.
Okay. Well, that one works.
We just talked about the stupid behavior of our FEMA scientist who is about to meet his very, very, very dark end. We've got some fun things here, I think, that work for all of them. Our concerns of the previous minute and the logic. One thing I do like about this scene is I like a lot of the creature effects.
Yeah.
I think the suit and the amount of like gel and the lighting and the rest, I think it looks really good. Does it fit the X-Files? No. Does it fit Predator 3? Yes. Does it fit Aliens? Yes. What are your thoughts on this scene and its very dark, sad ending?
Yeah, it is, like you said, it's very, very different from what we traditionally see on the X-Files. I appreciate, sort of like you're saying, that the look of it, I think, is very cool. I like that you don't see a lot. It's like very dark. There's certain, like, you get that one glimpse of like the aliens' claws coming out, and like they're sort of dripping, and like it's very, again, not like super consistent with previous stuff on the X-Files, but pretty scary. And you get Bronschweig sort of looking around. He sees the alien, then all of a sudden he can't see it, but he can hear it moving around. That as a sort of like, that gets pretty tense. And yeah, like during the attack, like I like that it's really dark and you can't really totally see what's going on. I feel like that makes it more scary. And I mean, I think the end of this minute, wait, I'm making sure I'm on the right minute. No. Yeah, the end of this minute, I know that we see the injection go, because Bronschweig, he grabs his the vaccine, and we see the needle go in. So you sort of wonder whether it's going to work, but I mean, we never really find out.
Good point. We don't. Yeah, there's a scene where the creature jumps at him. Is very classic X-Files, like jump attack. When you see it from above, like the person jumping, like, similar to Humbug or something. And it's kind of fun to see that vibe.
Oh yeah, that is a lot like that.
Very TV-esque, but cool. I mean, it's good to see that Bowman touch like that. Creature effects are good. The sound design is good. I don't like the jump scare sounds. This is a personal thing. I don't like the fact that it's so strong, so soon, all those things we talked about. But first thing I'll say is he does this line where he says, "So much for little green men." It's a little nod and a wink. It's a bit much, but it also makes me think, he knows about the vaccine. He knows something weird is happening to the body. He could already probably by this time seen the alien gestating in the person. We'll assume he's informed some degree of the syndicate. Why?
Yeah.
It just seems like he should know a little bit more than what he does know.
Yeah.
The fact that this is such a big surprise. And I know the syndicate talks about how the mutation has happened a little bit differently. So they're a little bit surprised, but still I think there should be some degree of caution. I don't know. And the fact that if I were hindsight 2020, yes, I know he didn't expect the alien to jump out, but you think they could go up, get a dart gun, shoot the vaccine in that way. But
oh, that's smart. That would have made a lot of sense.
instead, it goes back to that magic shiv from Talitha Kumi and all that, where anything in the X-Files that's effective, you got to get up close and get killed in order to use it.
Oh, right, like the, the big back of the neck piercing tool thing. Yeah.
Yeah, the lamp blade,
Yeah.
or I don't know what the term
Yes, the
for
thing
it
hidden
is.
in the lamp. Yeah, I totally agree that I just don't get why this guy was not more cautious. And I sort of roll my eyes at that so much for Little Green Men thing also, because it's just, I don't know, when you're in that much danger, are you really like cracking a joke to yourself? I mean, I don't know, Mulder does, but yeah, he's Mulder.
And again, we could argue he doesn't know he's in danger. He doesn't know this thing is violent. But you were just wearing a hazmat suit, buddy. So even if it's not going to be violent, you should know enough to get upstairs. That's how there's enough information here to.
Yeah, I guess since this whole like gestation thing is new to them, they're not necessarily aware of how immediately dangerous these aliens are, the baby aliens.
But considering how cautious the Syndicate is about everything else, and FEMA, the fact that they're not about this, it's just a little weird.
Yeah.
That's all. I know we're beating this horse. I feel so bad for it. But narratively, they could have built the tension just as well if they would have came down there with backup, just like the firefighters at the beginning, or with the cavemen at the beginning, to say you could go down there prepared and still have it take them on, and it would be even more effective.
Yeah.
But the one thing that does work well, or to its advantage, is the end of the next minute. So I've got to keep, not the end, but partway through of how the scene resolves, and I have to keep that quiet from this minute because no spoilers.
Yes. What do you have as like the final seconds of this minute that we're currently on?
When the needle goes in, like you talked about.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I have to. Just making sure.
That wraps up our latest Fight the Future Minute. Thanks for listening, everyone. And, of course, thanks to Deana. We'll be back together for Minute 51. And this is where it gets pretty depressing and then very bougie really quick. So, until our next minute, remember, as always, trust no one.
Elsewhere on We Made This. The Sanctuary, a Star Trek, politics and economics podcast.
Sci-fi needs more strong women, and they had her say that, and for that split second she was on camera, she was in uniform as Kira Nerys. And I think that was a really well done piece of framing, a good piece of television, a good piece of framing that was really well done. The whole thing was really, really well done. And I think they got it pretty much right on the mark.
Shipwrecked and Comatose, a Red Dwarf podcast.
I hadn't thought about it any more than Rimmer can see himself, that's unusual. And I'm just thinking out loud now, is there a reason for that, or is it just for that one gag?
It's possibly for that one. Well, no, because there's other ones, like where he gets haircuts later in the series, where it's important for him to see himself. And then the build-up is that he hasn't noticed yet.
That was last episode.
It was future. Yes, it was.
Don't worry. I think we're doing this a lot. It'll be people saying, I don't know if you watch Alan Partridge, when he says, "Stop getting Bond wrong." So I think there'll be plenty of people telling us that we're getting everything wrong, which is great. I love it.
Between the Notes,
Well, I kicked myself because I totally didn't make the connection that Bill Lee would have been related to Spike Lee until I actually looked it up as part of the preparation for this podcast. I was like, oh, he's Spike Lee's dad. I never made that connection.
And he's still going. He's early 90s. He's still with us, which is great.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I was looking up. Apparently, they haven't collaborated since the early 1990s because they've had a bit of a falling out, which is a shame because I think that I thought the Do the Right Thing score was brilliant.
Check out all of these shows and more on the We Made This podcast network.